I never thought I'd be the kind of person who would destroy someone from the inside out. But then again, I never thought my best friend would sleep with my wife. 15 years of friendship. 15 years of backyard barbecues, road trips, being each other's best man. 15 years down the drain when I found the texts between Marcus and Eliza. The messages that burned themselves into my retinas. The messages that convinced me beyond any doubt that the two people I trusted most in the world had been lying to my face for months. I still remember the moment perfectly. It was a Thursday evening in October. I was using Eliza's iPad to look up a recipe while she was at her book club. The notification popped up right as I was measuring out flour for what was supposed to be a surprise anniversary dinner. Marcus ***** can't wait to feel you again tomorrow. He's going to that conference in Chicago, right? Eliza ****, yes. We'll have the whole weekend. Miss you Marcus ****, I still taste you on my lips. I sat down at the kitchen counter, flour dusting my hands, and scrolled through weeks of their conversations. Every message was like a knife twisting deeper. The calculated deception. The planning around my schedule. The inside jokes about keeping it quiet. Photos I wish I could unsee. Book club had been their code all along. While I was working late, supporting our household, they were meeting at a hotel downtown. While I was planning our anniversary celebration, they were planning their next rendezvous. I didn't confront them immediately. Something cold and calculating took over. I've never considered myself a vengeful person, but in that moment, something fundamental changed within me. The betrayal was too deep, too personal. It wasn't just the affair, it was the fact that the two people I trusted most had conspired against me, laughed behind my back, and stolen something precious from me, my dignity. Some might have exploded with rage, thrown things, made a scene. But rage is momentary. It flares hot and dies quickly. I wanted something more lasting. I wanted them to feel what I felt, the slow, crushing realization that your entire reality was built on lies. That kind of pain lingers. It follows you to bed at night and greets you in the morning. So I planned. I continued as normal for the next week. I kissed Eliza goodbye in the mornings. I met Marcus for our weekly beers. I watched them interact at a mutual friend's birthday party, noting the careful distance they maintained, the secret glances when they thought no one was looking. I stored away every detail, every lie, building my case file of betrayal. While they thought I was oblivious, I was gathering evidence, taking screenshots of their conversations, documenting times and dates. Not for a divorce court, though that would come later, but for something more personal. More devastating. My opportunity came when I discovered something interesting about Marcus's girlfriend, Vanessa. They'd been dating for about a year, and she was clearly invested in the relationship. What Marcus didn't know was that she had suspected him of cheating for months. She'd confided in Eliza, of all people, looking for advice from her friend's happily married wife. The irony was almost too perfect. I reached out to Vanessa under the pretense of planning a surprise party for Marcus. We met for coffee on a Sunday afternoon while Marcus was supposedly at his parents' place. In reality, he was with my wife in our bed. I told Eliza I had a work emergency and set up a hidden camera in our bedroom just to confirm what I already knew. Vanessa was beautiful in a quiet way. Intelligent eyes, a thoughtful manner of speaking. She deserved better than Marcus, that much was clear within minutes of our conversation. "I'm really glad you reached out," she said, stirring her latte. "Marcus talks about you all the time. Says you're the brother he never had." The words stung, but I kept my expression neutral. "We go way back. That's why I wanted to do something special for his birthday." As we talked, I carefully steered the conversation toward her concerns about Marcus. Her suspicions. Her intuition that something wasn't right. "Has he been acting different lately?" I asked, feigning innocent concern. She hesitated, then nodded. "For months now. Always on his phone. Disappearing for hours with vague explanations. I thought I was being paranoid, but your gut is telling you something's wrong," I finished for her. Her eyes welled with tears. "Yes. Exactly that." I reached across the table and took her hand. A comforting gesture between friends. "Trust your instincts, Vanessa. They're usually right." That first meeting led to another and another. I was careful, methodical. We talked about Marcus, about her suspicions, about her feelings. I became her confidant, her shoulder to cry on. The irony wasn't lost on me. I was essentially doing to Marcus what he had done to me, insinuating myself into his private life through someone he cared about. But there was a difference. I never lied to Vanessa. I never manipulated her feelings or used her body for my pleasure. I simply became the friend she needed while her boyfriend was betraying her. As weeks passed, our friendship deepened. She began to see Marcus more clearly, to question his excuses, to stand up for herself. I admired her strength, her dignity in the face of mounting evidence that the man she loved was unfaithful. Meanwhile, I maintained my facade with Eliza and Marcus. I played the role of the oblivious husband, the loyal friend. I watched them continue their affair, gathering more evidence, biding my time. The weight of their betrayal never lessened, but my resolve strengthened. The coldness inside me grew, hardened like ice in winter. 3 months into my plan, Vanessa called me in tears. She'd found conclusive proof of Marcus's cheating, a hotel receipt in his jacket pocket. She didn't yet know it was my wife he was seeing, and I didn't tell her. That revelation would come later, when it would cause maximum damage. I don't know what to do, she sobbed over the phone. I love him, but I can't stay with someone who would do this to me. You deserve better, I told her honestly. Much better. We met that night at a quiet bar downtown. She'd been crying for hours, her eyes red-rimmed and puffy. I ordered us both whiskeys and listened as she poured out her heart. Her pain was raw, real, and it resonated with my own. How could he do this? She asked, the same question I'd been asking myself for months. How could he look me in the eye every day and lie? Some people are exceptionally good at compartmentalizing, I said. They convince themselves that what happens in one part of their life doesn't affect the other parts. She looked at me, then really looked at me, as if seeing me for the first time. You sound like you're speaking from experience. I hesitated, then decided to offer a partial truth. Let's just say I understand betrayal better than most. That night marked a turning point. As we left the bar, standing close on the sidewalk waiting for her Uber, something shifted between us. She reached for my hand, and I didn't pull away. When she leaned in and kissed me, I returned the kiss. It wasn't planned. It wasn't part of my revenge. It was simply two wounded people finding comfort in each other. I shouldn't have done that, she whispered, pulling back. Neither should I admitted. But we both knew we would do it again. What followed was complicated. Messy. Morally ambiguous. Vanessa and I began seeing each other secretly while she was still technically with Marcus. I was still married to Eliza. We were both betraying our partners just as they had betrayed us. The difference was we knew we were wrong. We acknowledged the ugliness of what we were doing. And yet I couldn't bring myself to stop. My relationship with Vanessa had started as a calculated move in my revenge plan, but it had evolved into something more complex. I cared for her. I enjoyed our conversations, her perspective, her company. And yes, I took satisfaction in knowing that I was now sleeping with Marcus's girlfriend just as he had slept with my wife. An eye for an eye. A betrayal for a betrayal. 6 months after discovering my wife's affair, my plan was ready to be executed. I had compiled irrefutable evidence, text messages, photos, videos, hotel receipts. I had cultivated a genuine relationship with Vanessa, who had finally left Marcus but hadn't told him about us. I had maintained my facade of ignorance with both Marcus and Eliza, letting them believe their secret was safe. The setting was perfect. Marcus's birthday party at his apartment. All our friends would be there. Both Eliza and Vanessa would be present. The stage was set for the most public humiliation possible. I arrived early to help set up, a flash drive heavy in my pocket. Marcus greeted me with a bear hug, slapping my back like the old friend he pretended to be. Thanks for coming early, man. Vanessa's been acting weird lately. Think she's planning some surprise and stressing about it. If only he knew. Guests began arriving around 8. The apartment filled with familiar faces, our college friends, colleagues, neighbors. Eliza arrived fashionably late, kissing Marcus on the cheek a beat too long. She gave me a quick peck, her lips stiff against mine. I wondered if she knew deep down that I knew. If some part of her was waiting for the other shoe to drop. Vanessa and I had barely spoken all evening, maintaining our distance, playing our parts. But our eyes met across the room, a silent acknowledgement of what was to come. Around 10, when everyone had arrived and the party was in full swing, I clinked my glass for attention. The room quieted as all eyes turned to me. "I'd like to make a toast to my oldest friend," I said, raising my drink toward Marcus. 15 years of friendship. 15 years of trust. 15 years of having each other's backs. Marcus beamed, completely oblivious to the knife I was about to twist. "At least, that's what I thought," I continued, my voice hardening slightly. "Until I discovered that trust only goes one way in our friendship." A confused murmur rippled through the crowd. Marcus's smile faltered. Eliza froze by the snack table, her face draining of color. "You see, for the past year, my best friend and my wife have been sleeping together behind my back." I pulled out my phone and held it up. "I have proof. Text messages. Photos. Videos from my own bedroom." The room went deadly silent. "Marcus," I said, looking him directly in the eyes, "you invited me into your home, you broke bread with me, all while you were betraying me in the most intimate way possible." His face contorted with shock, then guilt. "Listen, man, I can explain." "No need," I cut him off. "Your actions have explained everything about your character." I turned to Eliza, who stood trembling, tears streaming down her face. "And you? My wife. The woman I built a life with. You didn't just cheat on me, you conspired with him to deceive me. You both laughed at me behind my back." "Please," she whispered, "not like this." "Why not like this?" I asked coldly. "You didn't give me the dignity of privacy when you betrayed me. Why should I grant you that courtesy now?" The party guests stood frozen, witnesses to the implosion of 15 years of friendship and 7 years of marriage. Some looked uncomfortable, others morbidly fascinated. No one moved to leave. "But that's not all," I continued, turning back to Marcus. "While you were busy sleeping with my wife, I got to know Vanessa quite well." Marcus's eyes darted to Vanessa, who met his gaze unflinchingly. "Very well, in fact," I added, watching the realization dawn on his face. "You're lying," he said hoarsely. Vanessa stepped forward then, moving to stand beside me. "He's not lying, Marcus. We've been seeing each other for months. Right around the time I found the hotel receipt in your jacket. The one you said was for a work conference." The look on Marcus's face was everything I had hoped for. The complete and utter devastation. The humiliation. The betrayal crashing down on him in waves in front of everyone he knew. He was experiencing exactly what I had felt that day in my kitchen, flour on my hands, reading those messages on my wife's iPad. "You bastard," he whispered, his voice breaking. "You absolute bastard." "That's rich coming from you," I replied evenly. "You reap what you sow, Marcus. Remember that." What followed was chaos. Shouting. Tears. Accusations. People began to leave, unable to bear the thick tension in the room. Eliza collapsed into a chair, sobbing uncontrollably. Marcus stood frozen, his birthday party in ruins around him, his girlfriend and best friend united against him. I should have felt triumphant. This was the moment I had been planning for months. The perfect revenge. Public humiliation. The destruction of his relationship just as he had destroyed mine. But as I stood there amidst the wreckage, Vanessa's hand in mine, I felt strangely empty. The cold satisfaction I had anticipated was nowhere to be found. Instead, I felt hollow. Drained. The weight of everything, the betrayal, the lies, my own calculated revenge, pressed down on me. "Let's go," Vanessa whispered, tugging my hand. We left together, walking out of Marcus's apartment and into the cool night air. Neither of us spoke as we made our way to my car. The silence between us was heavy with unasked questions and uncomfortable truths. Finally, sitting in the parked car, Vanessa turned to me. "Did you use me? Was I just a pawn in your revenge plan?" I couldn't lie to her. Not now. At first, yes. I wanted to hurt him like he hurt me. She nodded slowly, absorbing this. "And now?" "Now." I struggled to find the words. "Now I don't know what I feel. Except that hurting him didn't fix anything. It didn't undo what happened. It didn't make me feel better." "No," she agreed quietly. "It didn't." We sat there for a long time, the weight of our actions pressing down on us. We had both sought revenge for being betrayed and in doing so had become betrayers ourselves. The cycle of pain continued, unbroken. "What happens now?" she asked eventually. "I don't know," I admitted. "Divorce, obviously. But beyond that? I'm not sure." She reached for my hand across the center console. Whatever happens, we started this in an ugly place. We can acknowledge that and still choose to go somewhere better. I looked at her then, really looked at her, and saw not just Marcus's girlfriend or my instrument of revenge, but a person who had been hurt, who had made mistakes, who was trying to find her way forward just like me. "I'd like that," I said softly. In the end, revenge hadn't brought me peace. It hadn't erased the betrayal or healed my wounds. If anything, it had created new wounds, new regrets. The path to healing, I was slowly realizing, wouldn't be found in making others suffer as I had suffered. As we drove away from Marcus's apartment, from the scene of my carefully orchestrated revenge, I understood that destroying someone from the inside out ultimately destroys something in yourself as well. The coldness that had taken root in me the day I discovered the affair hadn't disappeared with my revenge. If anything, it had grown. The real work was just beginning. The work of picking up the pieces, of finding a way forward that didn't perpetuate the cycle of betrayal and revenge. The work of becoming someone I could look at in the mirror again without flinching. I never thought I'd be the kind of person who would destroy someone from the inside out. Now I had to decide what kind of person I wanted to be instead. 3 months later, I sit in front of my camera recording this confession for whoever might find it useful. My divorce is final. Marcus and Eliza are apparently still seeing each other, though our mutual friends say it's rocky, built as it was on a foundation of lies. Vanessa and I are taking things slowly, both of us working through our trust issues with the help of therapy. I'm not proud of how I handled things. The calculated nature of my revenge, using Vanessa as a means to an end, at least initially, the public humiliation, none of it speaks well of my character. But I'm trying to be honest now. With myself, with Vanessa, with anyone watching this video. Betrayal changes you. It makes you capable of things you never thought possible. It reveals sides of yourself you never knew existed. The real question isn't whether you've been betrayed. Most of us will experience that particular pain at some point in our lives. The real question is what you do afterward. How you carry that pain. Whether you let it transform you into someone unrecognizable, someone who perpetuates the cycle of hurt, or whether you find a way to break that cycle. I chose revenge, and it cost me. It cost me pieces of myself I'm still trying to reclaim. If I could go back, would I do it differently? I honestly don't know. The pain was so overwhelming, the betrayal so complete, that I'm not sure I was capable of another response at the time. But I know this, revenge didn't heal me. It didn't undo what was done. All it did was spread the pain around, create more wreckage, more hurt. So if you're watching this and you're in that dark place, that place where betrayal has hollowed you out and filled the space with cold rage, I don't have easy answers for you. I won't tell you to forgive, to take the high road, to be the bigger person. Those platitudes mean nothing when your world has been shattered. But I will tell you this, whatever you do, make sure you can live with it afterward. Make sure it doesn't cost you the parts of yourself worth saving. Because when the dust settles and the revenge is done, you still have to wake up every morning and face yourself in the mirror. And that, I've found, is the hardest part of all.